This is Joe Carpenter. Today is the 14th of January, 2024, and I'm interviewing Mr. Johnny Carter. This interview is taking place in Arlington, Texas, in Mr. Carter's home, and it is for Giving Voice to History. Thank you for agreeing to be interviewed, Mr. Carter.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well, first of all, tell me what year you were born, and tell me where you were born.
I was born March 31, 1932, a little town of Claiborne Parish, Louisiana.
Is there any town near that area that we would recognize?
Well, the Homer, well, it's a town. But I went to school in Webster Parish.
Okay. And how many years of school did you get? How many years of school?
Seventh grade school.
Seventh grade is what you made it? And what did your family do for a living?
My dad was a farmer. My mother, she wasn't she was a housemaid at the time. She didn't work.
Okay.
My dad did the work.
Right.
My dad died before I started school.
Oh, he did?
Very little I remember my dad.
Right. So you were very young. So do you remember what year that was, or you have any idea what year that was?
Yes, my dad died in 1938.
1938. So you were just little bitty. How many siblings did you have?
And we were one girl, the oldest, and four boys.
And your mother had to take care of all of you by herself?
Yes.
Wow. So what was the age?
2 years apart.
2 years apart.
It was all 2 years apart.
And did any of your brothers or sisters get to finish high school?
My youngest brother did.
Youngest brother.
The rest of us all grade school.
Right. And why did you have to quit school so early?
Well, I wanted a job. I wanted a job, and this I didn't want no part of school, going back to school. I wanted a job.
Right.
And that's what I did.
So what kind of job did you find?
After I moved to Michigan, I worked at auto factory.
Right. That wasn't until you were 20, though,
20 years old.
So after seventh grade, what did you do between the time that you were quit school and the time that you went to Michigan?
Farming. We was on welfare, then from there to farming.
Okay.
To old enough to work in the field.
Right. So, and y'all were sharecroppers, is that right?
Yes.
Now tell me about the man whose land you guys lived on.
Well, at the time we were living on, with first place was from the place I was born at. Lived it on, it was a doctor house, great big house.
Oh.
And I was going to school at the time, and we moved from there to my mother doing day work for these white people, washing clothes, ironing, and cleaning the house. We moved on his place. We lived there about 10 months, I think it was. And we moved from there to on the Martin place, where was when I left, stayed there from 1943 until 52.
I see.
Then I went to Michigan.
And so did your brothers and sisters all work on the farm?
Yes.
Work in the field?
Did.
Now, you mentioned to me that the man who owned the land, he had a nickname for you.
Well, yes, he called me Grandma.
Why did he call you Grandma?
I was slow.
You just didn't move very fast? Is that what it was?
Well, it just slow. Some kids just take their time and working, and I was slow, so he called me Grandma.
And he always called you Grandma, didn't he?
Yeah, after that. You know.
And you weren't offended by that?
Oh, no. That's a nickname. That was a nickname that he gave me, and that's what he called me until I left there.
And he had a son, is that right?
Yes, he had a boy and a girl.
Tell me about them. What do you remember about them?
Well, the girl was the oldest. She got married, and she married a military guy who was in the service. And she was married to him. They got a divorce, and she ended up got married through the years again. And she had a kid by the first husband. Then she had a kid by her second husband. And after that, I left. After she moved away from there out in the country and got married. And they lived there on the place, the house right above us there. But after I left there, I never see her. I never see her no more after I left.
And just to be clear, this was a white family whose land you lived on. And the son was a friend of yours, is that right?
Yes, we played together through the years, and we got along good. No fighting going on, nothing like that. We got along, laugh and talk. And I was 20 years old when I left there, and he told me when I left, don't forget about him.
Right.
Come stop by to see him.
Did you do that?
I did that through the years, all through the years.
Now, did he stay in the same home?
Yes, he lived there through the years. He got married. After I left there, he got married. I went back in 1957, I think it was. He introduced me to his wife.
Oh.
They ran a store, had a store in town. And me and my older brother went down south that year, and we went in the store.
Right.
And he was up on the ladder putting something up overhead there. And so he says, I'll be with you guys in a minute, something he said. And when he came down the ladder, he looked and seen it. He said, oh my God, he just couldn't believe it. And so we laughed and talked then. He introduced us to his father-in-law and his wife. He called her, she was in the back, and he called her out and he introduced us to her.
Did he call you Grandma?
No, he called me Johnny.
Okay. And so when you guys were young, when you were little kids, you told me a story about going to the store and buying a candy bar.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that again?
Yes, at the time, I was in my teen at the time. I was about we bought this old car in 1949, and this was around 50, 51, somewhere around in that area. We were getting gas on credit. A little place called Leeton. There was 3 stores on a cotton gin.
Okay.
And we had credit with this guy. And this we both like Baby Ruth candy bar and Orange Crown Coke.
Okay.
And Orange Crown, a bottle of pop.
Yeah.
And
RC Cola, right?
RC.
Okay.
And so we were talking about when we get to the store, we're gonna buy what we're gonna buy, the Baby Ruth candy bar and a pop.
Yeah.
And we walked in the store and the guy sold him a Baby Ruth candy bar and a pop and a RC Crown.
Sold it to your friend.
Right.
Okay.
And he said, anything else? The guy told him no. He looked at me and said, what can I do for you? I told him what I wanted. I want the same thing he got him.
Right.
And he raced down behind the counter. He said, I'm sorry, I sold the last candy bar to him. I said, well, that's all I want, just a pop then. You know, not a pop, soda.
Sure.
Called it soda water. Right. And I paid for that. This white boy was standing back still there. I turned the finger and walk away.
Yeah.
So he was still standing there. He asked him, he said, what you want, something else or something, he asked him. He said, yes, I want another Baby Ruth candy bar. And he reached out behind the counter, sold him another Baby Ruth candy bar. And just told me he was sold out.
Right.
I didn't get mad about it. It hurt my feelings.
Sure.
And we walked out the store together, and he told me, he said, Johnny, I always told you I can get things when you couldn't.
Right.
And I learned from that.
What did he mean by that?
He meant he being a white boy.
Uh-huh.
He could always get something
Right.
when I couldn't.
Now, you're from, it's southern Louisiana, right? It's south part of Louisiana?
Well, I don't know what section.
Okay.
All
But
I
being
know,
from
we
the
lived
south.
12 miles out of Mendon, in
Okay.
the country.
Well, being from the south, and this is, 1930s, 1940s we're talking about.
This was,
What kind of prejudice did you face?
didn't have any problem.
No problem at all.
No, didn't have no problem when I was living down in Louisiana, growing up. I know what store to go in, what store not to go in.
I see.
And that's in town, and in the country, in neighborhood stores or whatever, no problem, went to the store.
Right.
You know what door to knock on and door to not to knock on. And this was it, no problem.
How did you become aware of where you could go and where you shouldn't go?
That was the way we were brought up from a kid,
Okay.
and you got used to it. And that's the only thing you knew. And you didn't have no problem. You had to make a living,
Right.
and we were almost to everybody. Everybody we were just kids.
Right.
And my mother, she did the best she could do for us. Being a mother and father both after my dad died,
Right. So, as a teenager, you grew. What crops did you guys grow?
Oh, we raised corn, cotton, just to name it. We raised everything and all that.
Pretty much. And do you know how big because you had a plot on this land, right?
Yes, the first year we moved there in 1943, moved on to this guy's place. And he was in the pulpwood business, pulpwood.
Okay.
And pulpwood and log,
Pulpwood and what? I'm sorry?
pulpwood and log business.
Log business. Okay. So pulpwood would be for paper?
Paper.
Right.
And
Okay.
so him and his brother, they was in business. And after that, he just pulpwood. And there until I left there,
So how long did you have to work on the farm then before you moved north? How long were you?
I think 7 years or something like
Okay.
that,
And your brother moved up north first, is that right?
My older brother, yes.
Okay. And what caused him to move up north?
To get a job.
Okay. And where did he go?
He went to Pontiac, Michigan.
All right. And so what made you decide that you wanted to move up there too?
I wanted a job. He got a job in the factory, and he would write home and tell us he got a job and what he was making. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go and get a job too, there. And then during the Korean War, they would hire men that every man come along. They would hire.
Right.
And so I was 20 years old, so I went up there and got a job.
How'd you find out about the jobs up there?
After my brother left, I was 15 years old. My older brother left.
Right.
And he right back and told he's got a job.
I see.
And I didn't know nothing about no factory.
Right.
All I was in the country boy.
Yeah.
And didn't know nothing about city life. Never lived in the city.
Right. Oh, wow. Yes.
But I wanted to live in the city, being a country boy.
Right.
But anyway, after that, went there, got a job, and I was happy.
How How'd your mother feel about your moving away?
At the time we was growing up, my mother talked with us, but I never gave it a thought. I told her it's got to be a better way to make a living.
I see.
I didn't want to be farming the rest of my life.
I see. Okay.
I wanted to get a job. I work 8 hours a day, and the rest of the time, my time.
Right. Right.
And I wanted a job. Have a little spending money. Get me a house, get a car, and not a big bank account, just a spending money. That's all I wanted.
Right. Now you weren't drafted for the Korean War. Were you old enough to go to Korea?
During the Korean War, I was.
Yeah, you were old enough.
Yeah, I was. You had to be 18 to sign up to go to be drafted. They turned me down. Put me in 4F.
Okay. Do you know why they did that?
No. When I got the letter from them, they stated that I was not accepted to go into armed service or armed force or something like that.
Right.
Well, I remember reading that much, and that was it. I know then they didn't want me.
That's all you needed to know.
There was a check mark there.
Right.
And that was it.
And that's all you wanted to know, was that you weren't going and the rest of it was just fine.
Right. So that was it. I wanted to go. I wanted to see parts of the United States.
Yes.
I wanted to go to different cities and, different states and soldiers went. But after that, that was it.
Right.
And after that, they put me in 4F. I got a letter from a 4F, and went through the years later. 4F, didn't know what it meant. And a lot of people asked, well, why you didn't go? You're supposed to give you a reason you didn't go. I said, all I know, 4F, you're not fit to go in. Uncle Sam couldn't use you.
Yeah. Yeah, so something could have been something hearing, or something with your hearing, or something with your back, or your feet, or almost anything, right?
Now, through the years I worked in the shop, and this guy, he was a black guy, and he was an older man than I was. He went in the 40s, I think it was. And he told me, he said, here I am, I'm a flat-foot man. Bow-legged, flat-footed, you name it.
I see, okay.
He said, but here you are. I said, all I know, they just put me in 4F.
Right.
And
so
right today, we're still in 4F.
And so you went to work in Pontiac.
Yes.
About the same time, right?
Yeah, I've done it for 1952, yes.
Right. How did you get from Louisiana to Pontiac?
On the bus.
Okay. How long did that take? Do you remember?
We left on Monday evening, and we got to Pontiac Wednesday afternoon.
That's a long ride. And tell me about the country that you got to see on your way up there.
I don't know. I tried to stay awake, but
right?
Night and day. But
yes.
That was it.
Yeah.
But all I know, I was just wanted to get away. And so on my way there, my older brother, he came home before we went in the military. And I rode back up to Michigan with him. It was on the bus.
I see. Okay. So he had ridden the bus down to Louisiana?
Yes.
And then y'all went back up together, okay? And so being a country boy, what was it like for you when you first got up to Michigan?
It was an experience I never had before.
Yeah.
It was a good experience. And after my dad died, he was the oldest boy.
Right.
And everybody told him he was the man of the house.
I see.
And we looked it up to him as the father figure.
I see.
He was 4 years older than I am. And so that was it. And these are words he told me, I never forget this. He said, now you here by yourself. Because we got there on Wednesday afternoon and he left Monday morning going in service.
Wow.
I had another brother. He was 2 years younger than my older brother.
Uh-huh.
He went in 1951.
Okay.
He was in Michigan and he went in service 1951.
I see.
And I there by myself. And he
Just
told me-
after a week in the city, you lived
No,
by
I was
yourself?
there just from Wednesday until Monday morning. My older brother went in service.
Wow.
And I was there all by myself.
How did you find a place to live?
Well, he took me a place to stay
Okay.
and a room they used to rent. He took me there, and that's where I supposed to got a room at. I never did,
Oh.
but him and his wife had broke up at the time, and from Wednesday to Sunday night, they made up to go back together. So
I see.
she told me, she said, I could stay right there in the apartment.
Uh-huh.
They had an apartment.
Uh-huh.
And I stayed there in the apartment. And because she didn't work, and her mother lived in an apartment in the back. It was a big apartment house.
Oh, I see.
It was like a big hotel, but they had a lot of rooms in it.
Uh-huh.
And he had different places, room rent, rented out.
Right.
You know. And his mother had a 2-bedroom house. My sister-in-law mother and her
Oh, I see.
had a
Okay.
2-bedroom.
Uh-huh.
And she would go over there and sleep,
Okay.
you know. And that was it.
Just left you there on your own then.
Yeah, they said we shared to rent together, you know,
Uh-huh.
like that. And she seen I was every month I had my money right there for my rent.
Right.
And she said, "Well, you doing all right for yourself. So when your brother get out of service, y'all can just have this apartment."
Oh. Okay.
And so that's what it was.
How long was your brother in the service?
All of them, I had 3 brothers, all went in.
All went in, okay.
Oh, except me.
And did any of them stay in and make a career of it?
No, just 2 years. They
Just 2 years.
2 years in.
And were they all up in the Michigan area by that time?
Yes, we all 4 of us, we went to Michigan. And all 3 of my brothers got drafted from Michigan.
Oh, I see.
And I was the only one that didn't go in service.
Where was your mom at this time?
She was still living down south in Louisiana until 1955, December. We went south and brought her back to Michigan,
I see.
moved up to Michigan.
I see. So was the whole family up there by that time?
Yes, my sister, she living in Sweetport. She was still in Louisiana.
Oh, I
She
see.
lived
Okay.
there. But the rest of us, we all lived in Michigan.
Now tell me about finding a job. How difficult was it for you to find a job when you went up there?
My brother worked at Pontiac Motors, where I was hired in it. And at the time, as they was hiring at Pontiac Motors, that was Jim Motors.
Yeah.
Pontiac Motors, they had their own name for, that's why they call it Pontiac Motors Division, Pontiac Motors Division.
Uh-huh.
They made the Pontiac cars.
Right.
Okay,
In Pontiac.
in Pontiac.
Right.
Truck and bus, they made the big buses and the trucks.
Oh, really?
That's Jim Motors. That was in Pontiac.
Okay.
Fisher Body, they made the bodies for Pontiac cars and stuff like that. That was Jim Motors. So all of that was in Pontiac. And they would hire at all 3 of the places.
Oh.
So my brother told me, she says, I'm going to take you to where I work at first. Then we go from there to the other 2 places, put an application in. And the first place that called you, I want you to go.
Okay.
And that's what I did. So I went there and He filled the application out for me. I signed it. Took my physical and went to work that night.
Wow. That night.
That next,
So you were ready to go to work.
I went to work.
What did you do? What was your job?
My brother, he said, you know how to sweep the floor. So my mother taught me how to sweep out the floor, sweep the floor when I was a kid growing up. And that's what he put on.
Uh-huh.
Sweeper.
I see.
Yeah, sweeper, that's sweep the floor.
So that's what you did.
That was what I got hired in. That was my trade.
That was you didn't get any on-the-job training because I guess you already had it at home, right?
That was my trade.
So did it pay enough for you to live on?
Yes, I made a living out of it. Mm-hmm. That's the lowest paid job in the factory.
I see.
Sweeper.
Okay.
Sweeper, janitor, it's the same pay.
Uh-huh. Oh, I see.
Different name, but different pay. Sweepers, janitor, janitor,
Yeah.
and elevator operator. All three names, all got the same pay.
I see. But it was enough for you to live on.
Made $1.30 an hour.
Wow. That's something else.
$1.30 an hour, 5 days a week. Figure that up. $52 a week. That before anything taken out.
How much was your rent?
Rent was 50, at that time I think about, I don't know, $45 or $50 a month.
So maybe a week's pay was your rent.
But anyway, being a single man, no responsibility, so I had my rent money
Yeah.
every month.
Did you have a car?
No,
Okay. When did you finally get a car?
I didn't get a car until 1959.
Okay.
My brother, 2 years older than I am, that went in service in 1951.
Yes.
He got discharged in 1953. So he bought a car. He was 21. No, I was 21. He was 23.
Okay.
And he bought a 1950 Ford. Man,
A Ford,
Ford.
not a GM car.
No, it's Ford. And though he worked for GM,
Right.
but they wouldn't. He didn't get a GM Ford. And this particular day, he didn't tell me he's gonna get a car.
Oh.
And you were riding back and forth to work with this guy, and so all I know, he said tomorrow morning, because he worked the second shift, and I was working midnight shift. He said tomorrow morning I'm gonna get up early and I'm going to Detroit. I said, oh, okay. And that was it. So he came home. I was watching TV. He says, look out the window, see what you see out there. I went to the window and looked out and nothing. He said, you don't see nothing out there? I said, no, there's a Dream Ford sitting out here. So he said, what color is it? I said, green. He said, a green car? I said, yeah. And he said, hey, General, something like that he called me. Yeah. He says, here. I said, what's this? Pitched the keys and thrown it to me. He said, take it for a ride.
Yeah.
He said, that's my car. Your car? He said, yeah. I went around and I taken it for a drive, just for a short drive. Oh man, I was happy. And here I was 21 years old and he was 23 and he had a car.
Right.
And it was a 54, that was back in 1953. This said 2004, 24. He had a, the 3 years, 20, to 2000, and the car was 3 years old.
Yeah, so it'll equate to about a 2021 car in our
Right.
time. That's pretty new.
Yeah, 3 years. you
Yeah.
know. And man, that thing, I tell you, that was a pretty car.
Yeah.
And we were both young men to sing on. But my older brother was in the military at the time. My younger brother still down south.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1954, my youngest brother came to Michigan. He got a job, and we was all there as young men. Had a
Wow.
job working.
Wow.
And
And did you share the car?
My brother?
Yeah, with your brother? Y'all-
He gave me a key to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he gave me a key.
Yeah. And did you start dating?
Oh yeah, I didn't have a girlfriend at the time,
Yeah.
but yeah, we was living high on the hog.
And how long did you work as a sweeper?
After I made my 90 days, call it classification open, that's for booth cleaner.
Okay.
Booth cleaner, that's made 5 cents more than a sweeper.
Okay.
And I signed up for that. And that's, I helped that classification for a long time.
It's a booth cleaner?
Booth cleaner, called the booth.
Okay. What is that?
A booth is a spray booth.
Oh, like
spray
for painting.
The paint.
Okay.
The car, they call the spray, the booth. Okay, so that was paid 5 cents more than a sweeper did.
Right.
And I got that put in for that, and I got that hired in for that. And I was in that classification to 1956. They cut back, and cut back to I think it cut me back to sweeper again for a while. But I know back in 1970 or 71, that's where they had that big layoff.
Oh.
And I got cut back all them years, seniority.
Oh, no.
Oh,
really?
yeah, I got cut back to a sweeper.
Oh, my
Oh,
gosh.
man. Let's see, from 1956, 55, 56. 55 was a good year. 56 was a bad year. 57 was a bad year. 58 was a bad year. 3 years straight.
Bad for the company?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it just
50, back in 56, 57, somewhere around in that area, we worked 3 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Production worked 3 days. In my department called sanitation, we got a chance to work 4 days a week.
Oh.
So it was 3 years straight, it was bad years.
And why was that? What was
Economy,
the economy was bad?
right.
Okay, and so that was bad on the car business,
Oh,
obviously.
yes.
So those 3 years, you got cut back to a sweeper, and you got cut back to being part-time, 4 days a week.
Well, they made up for it. They call it, we grew unemployment.
Oh, you did. Okay.
You know, you're off for a period of time and you wrote unemployment. Back in 1958, me and my wife got married in 1955. 58, I bought a brand new 3-bedroom house.
You did.
Yes.
Wow.
And big layoff came up after that, big cutback. And man, that was it. People lost their home and lost their cars, and you just name it, man, you know.
How did you manage?
Well, at the time, it's, you just paid interest on my house note was $65 a month.
Okay.
Just pay the interest.
Okay.
That's all I had to do, pay the interest.
As long as you paid the interest, you were okay. All right. And that lasted for how long?
58, 59, they picked up 59, 60, and like that, you know,
Okay.
to start picking up again.
So you said you got married?
I got married in 1955.
Okay. Where did you meet your wife?
First time I seen her was her cousin, my wife's cousin at the time. she was downtown or something like that. And she asked me about taking her home. Okay, I didn't know where she lived at the time. I
Okay.
just knew her, you know. But she only just lived right around the corner from where I was living at the time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I pulled up and we was laughing and talking and everything. And my cousin said something, she was upstairs or something. And she said something to her. And I looked up and she had a broom in her hand because she was sweeping the floor or whatever, you know. But anyway, she took it. I said, who's she? She says, that's my cousin.
Uh-huh.
And then I said, I like you. And it was from that,
That's pretty smooth.
yeah, I like you. Well, I drive my brother's car, you know, and everything.
Right,
Hey,
right.
man. But anyway, we started from there. That's the first time I seen her. But anyway, I liked that. I didn't see her no more. I didn't ask her. Her cousin, she gave me a phone number. I didn't call her or anything. No, couple, 3 weeks of maybe something like that. Maybe.
Yes.
When taking the car, my brother took the car up to get it washed. The car up there
Oh,
to get
okay.
it washed. And he told me to go pick it up. It'll be ready in about an hour and a half or something like that. But anyway, I went to pick the car up. And that's when I seen her again.
Uh-huh.
And she was in the car with her little boyfriend, and I guess he had done pissed off or whatever. That's when I seen her then.
Uh-huh.
And she asked me something about, well, if we can go home or something, dropping off or something, she
Yes.
said. I said, okay, come on, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I asked her, what you done in the afternoon? She said, nothing. I said, come on, go to Detroit with us. So we're going to Detroit.
Okay.
So I had a little girlfriend, get a girl in the car with me. So that was it. Went to Detroit to see my aunt and cousin. You know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you got married.
Well, I dated there until, that was in 53, 55, I got married.
Okay. And how long were you married?
I was married to her almost 10 years.
Okay.
9 years or something.
How many children did y'all have together?
6 children,
6 children together. That's quite a few.
yes.
And you were, and the amazing thing is that you were still able to support yourself and your family
Oh, yes.
on that, on your income at GM.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Back then, you get a job at GM, hey, man, you was in high.
You were set.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
the union, you had to be
oh yeah.
union.
So when did you get to, how long did you have to wait until you went into the union?
Oh, after I got hired in the union.
Oh, really? Automatically? So they, the sweepers were part of the union?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. And so that was a real benefit then, being a part of the union. So where did y'all get married when you got married?
I got married in Pontiac.
Yeah, okay. And your mom was there, your whole family was there?
No, my mother was still down south.
Oh, she was still down south, okay. All right, but everybody else was there. Did your mom know you were getting married?
Yes, I was riding back and forth,
Yeah.
and I told her getting married.
Uh-huh.
But she wasn't living there at the time. My mother was living down south at the time.
I
Still
see.
in Louisiana.
I see.
But I sent her a picture,
Uh-huh.
married, my wife's picture.
Right. And so after you were married, you were married for 10 years, you said. After you were married, how long were you single?
After that, we got a divorce, and I was single from 1958. The divorce came found in 1968.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get married again until 1977.
I see.
I was a
Okay.
single man from there until 1977. I got married again.
I want to back up just a minute because I want to ask you about the 60s. The civil rights movement was going on. lots of turmoil in the country, especially during Vietnam, etc. What was your experience like as an African American man in the United States during the 1960s, during the civil rights movement and all those protests and that sort of thing?
Well, at the time, I didn't participate in the protests and nothing like that. It was scary. It was frightening. And I never forget. During that period of time, the curfew. I didn't know what curfew was,
right.
But at the time, curfew and everything, but I had a car at that time. I was going to work. Well, curfew, you're supposed to be off the street at 9 o'clock at night, and had to be at work at 10:30 at night to work the midnight shift. And this particular night, the police are always pulling you over.
Okay.
After curfew.
I see.
So this particular night, I'm going to work, and they pulled me over, and it was police car. It stopped. It was stop street. It was a police car there.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was. But anyway, you're living in Pontiac. The one that living in Pontiac, they come to work. The one in Detroit, they let them off where they can go home be off the street.
I see.
But the one in Pontiac, okay, they had to keep somebody on the job.
Right. Okay.
So we're living in Pontiac, so we come to work.
What was going on in Detroit?
Well, Detroit, they had that riot going on at the time, but Pontiac didn't think much about it. A couple of days later, that's when it really flew up in Pontiac.
I see.
But anyway, going to work this particular night, and never forget this, they pulled me over. No surprise, but curfew was on.
Right.
And the experience I had was the police officer on the passenger side, talking with on the passenger side and one on the driver's side. And at the back of my car, on the right passenger side, was a police officer with a shotgun up like this.
Oh, wow.
And on the driver's side, on the back, shotgun up like this.
So there were 4 police officers surrounding your car.
Yes.
That's pretty frightening.
So it's asking me questions,
Right.
Questions. Just the guys are both right and left.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Ask questions. What you doing out this time of night? Don't you know the curfew? And nothing. Oh yes, I know the curfew. Well, what you doing out here? The curfew. Going to work. Told him, my boss, supervisor, come to work. I had to be at work at 10:30 at night. So in other words, I got a job to go to, I'm going to my job.
Right.
Now you've got me pulled over. What you doing out here?
Yes.
So that was it. And so this particular night, they had one pulled over. By the time I got to the next block, another officer pulled me over.
Same story.
Same thing, asked the same question again. And this guy was a white guy. He was a lieutenant at the time. I knew him by name.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't try to get smart with him. I was the officer. How you doing, Lieutenant? He spoke to him,
Sure.
He started asking the same question. I said, Lieutenant, you seen the officer had me pulled over up the street there. Now you pulled me over, asking me the same thing all over, just like a broken record.
Right.
I said, I got to answer the same question again. And I never forget. And he told the guy, he said, that's all right, let him go. Just like that. I never forget that.
And did you often, or were there any other times that you had trouble like that? I mean, how long did the curfew go on?
It didn't last long. I can't remember exactly now, but it didn't last long. It soon died down, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it was.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, it was a few, I don't know, from 55. It wasn't too long. I know that. But I never forget my daughter I lived with here. At the time, she was going to high school.
Oh, okay.
And they called me to come and pick her to the office out there to pick her up. And I never forget, I went out there to pick her up that day, and me and my wife had broke up then. I had a room.
I see. Okay.
And I never forget, he was shaking and I was shaking and everything. It was an experience I never had before. And so he said, I'm sorry you had to go through this. And he said, but we can't let the kids out. Parents come to the school and pick them up.
Oh.
Because it was just that bad. It was scary.
Yes.
But I didn't have no problem after that. I didn't have no problem, you know.
Right. And so, moving into the 70s, you said you got remarried in
Oh, yes.
in 77, you said? Okay. Did you have any more children?
No.
6 was enough?
Well, 6 by my wife.
Right.
My first wife.
Yeah, I
Yes, I
see.
was paying child support and
Oh,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Okay. And what were you doing in 77? What were you doing at the Pontiac plant?
Well, I was still working. I retired from.
Yeah. What was your job, though, during that time? Into the 70s?
It was still getting the same pay, but they called it machine cleaner.
Okay.
Machine cleaner.
Uh-huh.
It paid the same as boot cleaning.
Really?
It was label.
Yeah, sure.
Label. Instead of that going by name, they just called it a label. You know, some people may consider a label. You know.
Sure. What financial challenges did you have from, because you weren't making a whole lot of money, what kind of financial challenges did you have, or did you just know how to save your money and budget your money and all that where you didn't have a problem?
Well, it was the finance problem, like cars and stuff like that. Yeah, I was a hard time.
Yes.
And for a period of time. Working in the shop and everything, it was a good paycheck coming.
Right. Okay.
But through the years, you overdo it sometimes and get
Yes.
overloaded
Yes.
and debt.
Right.
And the experience I had, I never forget it.
Yes.
It's a good experience I had. At one time through the years, owed everybody in town.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yes. And
did
a
you-
period of time way through the years later, got myself out of debt,
How did you do that? How did you get out of it?
paid everybody I owed. Finally paid them out. Didn't owe nobody anything.
Wow.
And when I learned something from that.
Yeah.
A good experience.
Yeah.
When you don't owe nobody nothing, you can't get nothing. Believe it
True.
or not. Believe it or not.
Yes. That's
I had
exactly
that
right.
experience.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I had that experience. I'll never forget, that was, well, I guess back in the 70s or something like that. But this company, and it was a finance company, I think it was, and went to them and put an application in to get a loan. And from that, it done paid everybody I owed.
Right.
I was out of debt.
Right.
Didn't owe anybody anything.
Uh-huh.
And this guy called me. He says, we checked it out. We checked and everything you owe. Everybody you owe, you done pay them out. He said, why is that? I said, man, I got tired of the debt.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So the dealer went down and he could question me, and well, I got a car.
Yes.
I couldn't afford the payment when I got it. I knew I couldn't afford the payment when I got the car. But anyway, they financed me, and I got behind on the note.
Oh.
Guy called me in. He questioned me. And he was going to repossess my car.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay. You're going to send a guy doing this. And I told him, I said, look, put yourself in my position.
Sure.
I said, I'm taking my girlfriend to work, picking up Evie from work. How do you feel in my position?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be my last day with my car.
Mm-hmm.
You in the car with us, and I got to break the news to her. I won't be able to pick you up today from work because this guy is repossessing my car, taking my car. He sat there and he thought about it. He said, I wouldn't feel good. I said, well, the same way I am, feel good. I said, I told you from the get-go, when I drop off my girlfriend off from work, I'll bring the keys back here to the office here. I said, you don't want me to do that. She can't trust me. But after I explained it to him, he said, I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, okay. So I did, taking it to work, taking the keys to the, and he didn't expect me to show up with the keys.
Huh.
But it did. And he told me, and sat down and we talked in his office. He said, I don't need the car. I said, man, I'm done everything I can do.
Right.
And so the deal went down, and I was supposed to pay the car note. But got gun sheet. Got my check, got gun sheet.
Okay.
But the deal went down, that's what happened. But I never forget that good experience I had.
So back then, you could talk to a banker or a loan officer, and they could make a decision right then and there that, you know, I'm going to take the car and not take the car. I'm going to feel bad for you or not feel bad for you. What did you think about that? I mean, it was just...
It was an experience I had, but I was being open-minded.
Yeah.
And they had a job to do, they doing their job.
Yeah.
And I had a job to do.
Yes.
And I never forget that.
Yeah.
But it was this young guy, I don't know what it was, I think it was a loan I put in for it or something like that. And, oh man, he didn't believe what I was saying and this and that. But anyway, he wanted to come to the office. Okay, I went to the office and we talked. And the experience I had during that period of time, I didn't care anymore. I got to the place, I didn't care. And I wasn't trying to hide anything from him. I just broke it down and we talked face to face.
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, Mr. Carter, I said, I'm going to ask you a question. I said, yes. He said, you answered the question I asked and everything. We're going back before you came to Michigan. Yes. Who did you owe? I didn't owe nobody anything.
Right.
He said, I'm talking about before you went to Michigan. Who did you owe before you came to Michigan? I said, nobody. He said, what you mean you didn't owe nobody anything? I said, I didn't. I said, I was living in that my mother's roof.
Mm-hmm.
My mother owed people. I didn't owe nobody.
Right.
He said, what you mean you didn't owe nobody nothing? I said, sir, at the time, A man had to be 21 years old.
Oh, I see. Yes. And you weren't.
I say I was 20 years old, not 21. Right. Uncle Sam can draft you at 18. Mm-hmm. You had to be 21 before they'll let you have anything.
Right. Mm-hmm. So
he sat there and he listened at me. He just couldn't believe me.
Huh.
He was amazed.
Yeah.
And
that you weren't in debt. You'd never been in debt prior to that time.
Yeah, he was just he didn't know.
Yeah.
When people don't know, you just don't know. And hey, but anyway, that was part of it.
You had mentioned to me, I think, that you had a special car at one time. You got to choose a car. Didn't you get to choose a car that one that you wanted made?
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that.
This is a courtesy car years ago.
Okay.
Well, you could get a demo.
Oh, okay.
They call them demo. Mm-hmm. Some call them courtesy cars, because some call them demos. Mm-hmm. They put so many miles on the car. You can get it as a used car, but it's so many miles they have to put on it.
I see.
You get it at a discount. Mm-hmm. Yes, I signed up for that. I was 21 years old at the time. Mm-hmm. And my supervisor didn't turn it in. At the time, that's what your supervisor come around wanting to know that you want a demo.
Right.
So I signed up for it. Yeah, I wanted one. So he didn't turn mine in.
Mm. Why not?
He was being a supervisor, and he had a beat up Pontiac. I didn't have a car. So he didn't turn mine in. He didn't tell me he didn't turn it in.
Because he didn't want you to have a better car than him?
Yeah, it's just that simple. He told another black guy, and the guy told me about it. That's why he didn't turn mine in. So I never did get a demo.
You never did?
No. Mm-mm. I never did get one, no.
So, as you, so you got remarried in 77, you said, and you're essentially doing the same job, but your income is going up, right? You were getting raises and stuff like that. Did you continue to do that same job?
Yes, I was helped the same job until I retired from it.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. And how long were you at GM altogether, or at Pontiac?
38 and a half years.
Wow. Why did you decide to retire?
My health failed on me. Mm. And I got to the place I couldn't hardly walk. And,
oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. I was so weak in my leg and I wasn't going to the doctor to get myself checked out.
I see.
And just went, just work.
Well, you were only, what, 58?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was 50. I had my first heart attack in 1990.
Ooh, okay. And being 58 years old and your health is failing, the job was hard.
Yes.
The job wore you out. And so you had your first heart attack. How old were you? And I could do the math. 60, were you 60 yet when you had your first heart attack? 1990.
No, I was around
58.
58 to 70, somewhere around 57, 58 years old, something like that.
That's pretty young. Did you smoke?
No, I never smoked.
Never smoked?
No, I tried to smoke growing up, but I couldn't handle it. But working in that type of work, dumping trash cans and stuff like that, they didn't have the plastic lining they put in the can like this.
Right.
And you just don't galvanized can and all of that filth and paper and smoke, tobacco, snuff, you name it.
Yeah.
You inhaling all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this doctor called it the secondhand smoke
Uh-huh.
causing it.
So you said you had your first heart attack. How many more did you have after
I
that?
had a couple more after that.
Really? So 3 altogether? How did you know when with the first one especially, how did you know you were having a heart attack?
The first one I had, it was experience I never had before. I came out on sick leave.
Okay.
I came out on sick leave in May 1989, I think it was, something like that, 99, something
Okay.
like that. And, but anyway, I was taking therapists.
Uh-huh.
I had been off taking therapists.
Uh-huh.
And this particular day, the first I could raise my right arm. I couldn't raise it, no.
Oh my. Yeah.
And the doctor told me he wanted me to have 2 therapists working with this.
Okay.
Up here they call it the cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
You're.
call it like a ball joint. The
Yeah.
doctor, it's just like a ball joint in a car.
Yeah.
So that was frozen.
Uh-huh.
So he had 2 therapists working with me on a Friday. And I came home after that and watched television. And I read down to get the newspaper off the coffee table. And all of a sudden, it just like a flash of lightning struck me across, just like that.
Wow.
Just like,
Yeah.
and I caught myself. I never had that feeling before. And by that time, when I straightened up, I just started sweating. A drop of sweat just
right.
And so I started getting nauseated after that.
Yes.
And I wanted to vomit, and I couldn't. I was home at the time by myself.
Oh.
Because my wife went over to her sister's house.
Uh-huh.
And so she told me she would be back in a few minutes. So while she was gone, that's when it happened. She came back, I was sitting out on the back porch, the house. She says, "What you doing sitting out here?" I said, I had a bad feeling a while ago, I don't know. So she had an aunt had a heart attack.
Ah.
So she called her aunt, and the aunt had told her about the way she felt or whatever, as she asked me the question. And so she called my brother. 2 of my brothers came over to the house. I thought they just stopped by the house, and they didn't know. And but after we talked and everything, where you want to go to the hospital? I said, no. I said, if it feels coming on again, I said, let you guys take me to the hospital.
Yeah.
In a few minutes, I felt it getting nauseated again. And I said, yeah, I feel it getting nauseated.
Yeah.
So take me to the hospital. And when I got to the hospital, that's when he told me.
Yeah.
I started getting, I had a little mild at the hospital, nauseated. They called that a mild heart attack I was having. They told me it's good I came in when I did.
Oh, really?
And but they could caught it in the right time.
How did they treat you at the hospital?
At the time I was weighing 196.
Uh-huh.
I had a big gut on me at the time, you know. But anyway, the doctor wanted me to reduce some of that weight down.
I see, okay.
Go from that. I was high in cholesterol.
Right.
And so he wanted me to get down to 100 and he wanted me to get down to 150, I think it was, but I got down to 152.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Gave me a length of time to do it.
Yeah.
And I got down to 152, and so he was happy about that. And I stayed around in there for the longest. And through the years later, started having, I went in for 3 stents. They put 3 stents in me. And I got where I couldn't breathe a little before I moved to Texas. And I had to go back again for breathing.
I see.
Hard for me to breathe. I was just short of breath.
Wow.
And so I can't remember. They put a stent in me a little before I moved to Texas. After I moved to Texas, they put another stent in me. I know I got 4 stents now.
Wow. But that helped you with your breathing and all that?
Yes.
The stents did. And you seem like you're in good health now.
Well, so far, yes.
Yeah.
I'm still ticking.
Right. Tell me about the Brothers of the Brush.
The brothers, that was done the time 1961. They was having celebrating 100 years of celebrating a Pontiac at the time.
Okay.
And I never heard of nothing like that before, but it was an experience. And my youngest brother, that's the one on the picture there, he was growing a beard.
This one right here.
And he wanted to know that, come on and get in there with them and grow a beard. He said, we're growing a beard for this. I don't want to participate in nothing like that, you know. So I did. He talked me into it. I did.
Right.
And that's where.
But it was to celebrate the centennial of Pontiac, Michigan.
Yes.
And so y'all all, in this picture, there are 4 of you. One of them's your youngest brother, you said?
Yes.
Who are these other gentlemen here?
They was 2 guys from my hometown. They lived in Michigan. They were growing a beard. They also themselves. And so we got together and then we had a picture taken.
And so the idea of the clothes that you're wearing and the hat, because it looks like you've got almost a derby
Yes, it was
on, was the idea to, and you've got string ties, was the idea to mimic what they were wearing
back
100 years before?
Yes.
And how many other Brothers of the Brush were there?
No, that was it was just a name they gave us because we were participating. There were 4 of us.
Okay.
And that's the certificate I got at the time.
Yes.
And it was a lot of people that would want to participate in.
Oh,
Some people didn't.
I see.
It wasn't for everybody who wanted to participate.
Sure.
It was just some people who wanted to participate, some didn't. And it was up to the individual.
I see.
And so I did. I started letting my hair grow out of my face and that. But anyway, that was the experience I had.
So what was it like for you? I mean, you worked 8 hours a day. What did you do in your free time?
I went to a movie was my thing. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. I wasn't out there in the fast lane. I call it the fast lane.
Right.
I wasn't out there with that. I just went to work.
We were talking about what you did in your free time.
Oh, go to a movie like that. That was it. Well, I worked a midnight shift.
Oh, right.
And after I started having kids, I started babysitting babysitting my kids in the daytime. My wife worked.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how was it when you retired? What was retirement like for you?
Retirement, I didn't have anything to occupy my mind.
I see.
And, but I learned, and I tell a lot of people now since I retired, after you retire, you need to get into something that you like to do. Something that the individual like to do. And you just can't stay home and watch television. You just get into something you like. And I got into that, joined the club. Got a chance to go different places.
With what club?
We call it Golden Opportunity.
Oh, okay. What is that? What is that club?
It's a club for retirees.
Okay.
And so we goes out to eat, go on, well, at the time, casinos and stuff like that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's just a group
Yeah.
of people get into what they like to do.
Yeah.
And now, since I came to move to Texas and the club, we go out for lunch and we go to movies
Uh-huh.
and go shopping. People like to shop.
Right.
I just go to participate and just with the group.
Uh-huh.
Just go.
And now did you do that up in Michigan also?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And I don't want to forget. I want to ask you about the Juneteenth celebration.
Juneteenth is Juneteenth. That's we celebrated that where I came from, originated out of Louisiana.
Yeah.
every year.
Okay.
When I went to Michigan, talked with people about Juneteenth, and nobody didn't know nothing about it.
Uh-huh.
Though what did nobody didn't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Put it that way. Like they're afraid to talk about it
Sure.
or whatever. I don't know. But that through the years, I wanted to be known
Yes.
because I got a chance to. Me and my older brother talked about it before he passed away, and he said, "I hope that one day they'll get that celebrated here."
Mm-hmm.
And in Pontiac.
Yes.
And after he passed away, I woke up when I was working second shift at the time.
Okay.
I woke up that morning 4 days, and I couldn't go back to sleep, and that ran across my mind.
Huh.
I said, I'm going to start talking about this day.
Uh-huh.
And I talked about it for the last 25 or 30 years in Michigan. I talked on it.
Uh-huh.
And people, and if somebody maybe can hear what I'm saying, they feel because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And so this is it. I didn't give up on it. I just talked and talked.
Mm-hmm.
And after my oldest son got on the city council, he got a chance to talk with the state representative,
I see.
the governor.
Oh, wow.
Not the,
Okay.
So he gave me a copy of it.
Uh-huh.
And after that, his wife, my son, he got married.
Uh-huh.
And his wife ran for the seat of being a state representative.
Yes.
And
Okay.
when she got in that position,
Uh-huh.
and I told her, I said, you was in this position.
Yes.
Talk to some of your colleagues so you can get the day pass.
Yes.
And she did. And they passed it like that. I got that from Texas back in the mid 80s, I would say, back in 1982, 83, somewhere around in that. They had a black representative of Texas
Oh, okay.
named, it was his last name, I skipped his first name. I clipped it out the jet years
Okay.
ago.
Yes.
And he was state representative of Texas, some part of Texas.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember now what this city or what. But while he was state representative, he updated that.
Oh, I see.
And the whole state of Texas, at the time, the whole state of Texas got it.
Right.
That's a legal
Begin
holiday.
the celebration. Yes.
And so my stepdaughter, she married a guy, he used to live in Arlington.
Uh-huh.
And we and my wife came down and visited. The first time we came down and visited him, I told him I wanted to go to the library.
Yes.
And we didn't go to the library in Arlington, we went to Fort Worth.
Okay.
I took me to Fort Worth. And I went to the library there. And when I walked in there, he had to go to the restroom. And I told him, I said, look, don't say a word. Let me do the talking. Because he lived in Texas there for a few years. And he told me, he said, I didn't know what I was talking about. Texas and this and that, we don't celebrate it here. And so I walked up to the counter and I swiped her at the counter. I told her what I want to look up. She says, you must not be from here. I said, I'm not. I said, why you ask that question? She said, you know about Juneteenth? I said, yes. I says, I'm originated from Louisiana. No, I said, I'm from Michigan.
Yeah.
But I'm originated from Louisiana.
Right.
I said, we always celebrate that day. And she took me to 3 places in the library. Big, thick books. Sure did.
Really, on Juneteenth. And so you were able to do some research and get some background
Right.
information?
I went to the library there in Michigan, Pontiac, there where I lived it. And just 2 or 3 little words, all they had. Yeah.
So this was kind of your mission,
Yeah.
was to get that done. And when did it finally become recognized?
After my daughter-in-law got in there, state rep, Michigan, this past June was 2 years, we celebrated.
For the first time.
Yeah.
And you went up there?
This past June, I went back to Michigan and rode and celebrated. More people participated in that.
Yes.
But year before last, that was the first year Pontiac celebrated a liquor holiday.
Right.
But I went to a place up from Holly, up north for Pontiac. They celebrated there 1 year. Now
see.
this was back in the 90s.
Oh.
And Juneteenth celebrated that. There was a few places in Michigan, different
Right.
city had to celebrate it, but not the whole state celebrated
Right.
it. After my son's wife got into that, she being the state representative.
Yes.
But it was just only certain little cities
Yes.
she's over, not the whole state.
Yes.
I
Right.
thought state representatives had the whole state.
Right.
But when you don't, you
Right.
know, you don't know. But she got it celebrated. And we went to, able to go to the state capitol, had a picture taken with her at the state capitol of Michigan, a little before I moved to Texas.
That's great.
The good experience I had.
Yes. Yes. I bet it was.
And
'Cause so how long had you been working on that altogether?
25 or 30 years I talked to
Oh,
them
my
on
goodness.
to that. And they finally got it, and it just made me feel good about it.
I bet it did.
And I never give it a thought
Yeah.
that one day somebody will be reading about me,
Yeah.
you know.
That's wonderful.
But anyway, it's,
Well, why don't we wrap up right here for now, and we'll pick this up later on. This is Joseph Carpenter. Today's the 28th of January, 2024, and I'm continuing my interview with Mr. Johnny Carter. Mr. Carter, where we left off was we were talking about your role in getting Juneteenth recognized up in Pontiac. So in your retirement, after you were with GM, and after you retired from GM, what did you do after that? What activities? How did you stay busy?
no, I was, just went to the Golden Opportunity Club for the older people.
Okay.
Retired and everything.
They call it Golden Opportunities.
Club.
Okay.
The Golden Opportunity
The
Club.
Golden Opportunity. Okay.
Matter of fact, I got a jacket with the name on it.
Oh, yeah?
Like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I talked on that for like 25 or 30 years.
On the Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Well, that
It
is.
seemed
Yeah.
like nobody knew anything about that day.
And nobody was listening.
Yeah, yeah.
So once you got the holiday recognized, were you recognized for your role in that holiday?
At the time, it was my state representative, not a state representative, I'm sorry, my councilman,
Okay.
city councilman.
Uh-huh.
I spoke on that day, this was back in 1995 or somewhere around
Oh,
there.
okay.
And I spoke on that day at Murphy Park.
Uh-huh. Oh,
We was at the park.
so you had a big celebration.
Well, I spoke on it and that day. It was just only a few people out there at the time.
Oh, okay.
And the councilman, he didn't give me the trophy, plaque.
Uh-huh. Recognizing the proclamation.
Right, he didn't give me that. He gave it to another guy named Snotty.
Name what?
Snotty, last name.
Snotty?
Yeah. He gave it to him.
I see. Why
And
did he give it to
I spoke on
him?
it that day. I spoke on that.
Mm.
And as a matter of fact, I just had walked off the little stage there.
Yes.
And I spoke on this. And he gave it to him. I find out they were from some part of Texas, out of
Oh.
I didn't know him, but I knew his brother. I remember his brother. I remember him.
I see.
And that's why I know that name.
Oh.
To find out they were brothers. But last year, I went back last June, and I spoke at the center, the Golden Opportunity group.
Okay.
They recognized that as Juneteenth now. And I spoke that day on that. I went back there for that.
Right.
And I spoke on that. And I mentioned this as I was speaking. They gave it to him instead of me, the councilman. I said, but he got the plaque, but I got the date I got it celebrated.
Right. So why did they give him the plaque?
The councilman, I don't know. They gave him the plaque just like it was his idea.
Had he been working on it with you or?
No, I never seen him before. First time I ever seen him. And I didn't, didn't know him or anything. We never talked. His brother, I remember his brother worked in the plant. His brother went to the.
Oh, I see.
I worked there. And that's how I knew his brother through the years.
Right.
But I didn't know where he was from. I never talked with him.
Yes.
But they gave it to him. I never forget that. And the president, the Golden Opportunity, asked me. We got back to the center one day, and he said, "Why did he give you that plaque? And you was one that it was your idea."
Yes.
I said, "Don't worry about it. I just left it like that. Don't worry about it." But after they got it recognized, state representative, I went back this past June, and they recognized after a couple of years
Yes.
for that, celebrated.
Yes.
And more people participated in it because
see.
a lot of people didn't know nothing about it.
Right.
You know.
And so you did finally get recognized by the state for your role in that.
Yes.
What else did you do in retirement? Or
After-
what have you been doing in retirement?
Nothing. Just went to the center and just hang around with
Just
older people,
enjoying
play
retirement?
dominoes, and I didn't think about nothing like this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I understand.
My older brother, we talked about it one year before, a little before he passed away,
I see.
and we talked about it. And he says, "I wonder why they don't ever celebrate that here." He says,
Yeah.
and this was it. I was still working at the time, and I working the second shift.
Right.
And one night I came home and I got ready for bed and everything, and I woke up over in the night before day,
Uh-huh.
and toss and tumble. I couldn't go back to sleep. And I thought about this, what my brother said. I said, I'm going to start speaking on this, talking on this.
So that's how you ended up talking about that. I see. Okay, that's how you ended up promoting that
Right.
recognition of that day.
Because nobody never did, they heard what I said, but they didn't even know. Before that, Michigan had few cities celebrated.
Okay.
I went, back in 1995, I went up to north of Michigan, up there, just a little ways from Pontiac, where I lived at that. And they were celebrated up there. And I went up there for that, me and my wife and my brother-in-law.
I see.
And I don't know, it was, my wife seen somewhere that, I don't know, it's the way she's seen it, it was the telephone number. And they were celebrated up there from Holly. A little place called Linden, Michigan. And it was a little place right up from Michigan, just a little ways from where I lived.
Right.
And we drove up there. They told her, after she called that number, they told us that well, if she get there, you know, to write the check. I think they sent the check out. I can't remember now where it went, but somewhere in Michigan. And the ticket will be there. Just tell them your name and there's your ticket. And she did. That's the way what we did. And we got up there, no problem. They had the ticket there. As for the ticket, we had a good time.
And again, what year was it that it was recognized in Michigan, the Juneteenth holiday? What?
We had a different place and a different city had it.
So it kind of just started small?
Well, they had started recognizing, I don't know how long it had been going on, but it was started recognizing different little places, little cities.
I see. Okay.
But Pontiac, they didn't. They wasn't recognized as a state holiday. After my daughter-in-law, after she ran for state rep, after she got that, ran for that seat, she
Yes.
got it.
Right.
And that was part of Pontiac.
Ah, yes.
And the councilmen, they all got together after that. And they said the councilman, he wasn't the councilman, he was the mayor,
Mayor, okay.
the mayor of Pontiac.
Wow, okay.
And they got it together and they celebrated there a couple of years ago. And people was interviewing my daughter-in-law, after she ran for that seat. The first year we celebrated there, she introduced me to her. Well, I had seen them. She come and spoke a few times at the center. But when I went to state capitol, she said, we
Yes.
introduced her to my supervisor, my boss, or something, she said.
So so you met other people in the state government?
Well, I got a chance to meet, I got a chance to meet the mayor through the years.
Excuse me.
Matter of fact, I talked with the mayor, state representative. I know him, Charlie Harrison,
Yes.
years ago. I've been knowing him for years. Matter of fact, when he even ran for that job, before he got it, I knew years ago.
Yeah.
him. But I didn't hold no conversation with him or anything. But after he got that job, I talked to him about it. We were back in the, this was after I retired. And talked to him. I talked to the mayor of Pontiac at the time, Walter Moore, he was the mayor. And I talked to him about this Juneteenth.
Yeah. Yes.
And so, well, I see what I can do. I see what I can do. This is what they always says.
Yeah, I see.
And it was just like a broken record. It was
Yes.
just going round and round.
So until your daughter-in-law got in the state government, they weren't doing anything.
Not Pontiac.
Yeah, not Pontiac.
Not
Right.
Pontiac.
So, putting the Juneteenth celebration aside for just a minute, what do you consider your most important accomplishments in your life? Because you've lived a long life so far.
Yes.
Got years to go. So, what do you consider, is there any accomplishment in your life that you consider equal to that? And if so, what would that be?
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
I never give it a thought. Mm-hmm. You know.
And right now, tell me what year you moved to Dallas, or the Dallas area, excuse me.
I moved to Dallas this past March was this past March,
Yeah, so almost a year.
almost.
Almost a year. And what brought you to Texas?
My daughter, my help, I was living by myself.
Yes.
And my last wife passed away in 2008.
Okay,
She passed away. And I was by myself.
I see.
I was eating out most of the time.
Yes.
And McDonald's, you name it, Burger King, and I was just eating out, and I
Right.
did my little cooking, but canned good.
Sure.
And eating high on the hog and everything. But
Yes.
anyway, my health, high
Yes.
cholesterol, has got
Oh, yeah.
told on me.
So that's when you started having, well, you'd had heart problems before though,
Yeah.
right? How many times were you married?
Oh, twice.
And then the second one? When did you get married?
1977.
77, okay. And that lasted till 2008 when she passed. So how did you meet your second wife?
I met her at work. She working at Pontiac Motors at the
Oh, okay. All right.
when I met her.
And so y'all were married a long time then.
Yeah, I was married to her.
And how many children from your first marriage?
6 kids I had.
Wow.
My first wife.
That's quite a few.
Yeah, I had a kid before I married her about another girl.
Uh-huh.
Paid child support for that kid.
Oh, I see. Yes, you did mention that. And what about your second wife? Did you have any children by your second wife?
No.
No? Okay, you figured that 7 was enough?
Oh yeah, that was enough.
You
She
done-
had 2 daughters when I married her.
I see. Okay.
But they was around my daughter's age.
Uh-huh.
And one was born around the same time my oldest daughter, and my youngest daughter, I think, was a few months older than her daughter was, but it was around the same.
Yes. What has your life been like? Would you describe it as a happy life? Would you describe it as a hard life? How would you describe your life?
I had a good life. You know, it wasn't a bad life. It wasn't a hard life. It was a hard time during the Depression when I was born.
Sure.
But jobs scarce,
Yes.
and it wasn't no good paying job where I was living, but farming more.
Right. Right.
And I didn't want to farm the rest of my life.
Right. Right. That makes sense. So a good life though.
Yeah, I had a good life.
Is there anything that you can tell me that's not too personal that you would have done differently?
No. I didn't know nothing else but work. That's the only thing I did.
Right.
Just work, and I just wanted a job, indoor job. I didn't want an outside job.
Right.
Outdoor.
Right.
I
Okay.
want an indoor job.
Right. In Michigan, you wouldn't want an outdoor job.
No, no.
It'd be too cold. We were just talking about that. So you wouldn't change a thing.
No.
So as kind of a final question, because we finished most of this in the first interview, but I wanted to just wrap it up, and this will be the final question. unless you have something that you want to add. What advice do you have for young people today? Or do you have advice for young people today how to live a happy life?
Really, each generation is too hectic now.
Yes.
Years ago, you sit down and have a conversation with people. Nowadays, too hectic now. You know? And I always was a quiet type of guy.
Oh, yeah?
And I still like to be on the quiet side. That's why I never was a outspoken person or nothing like that. I didn't get in trouble.
Right.
I just stayed my distance. Man, my own business and did my little thing.
Yes.
I went to work, back home, go to movies. That was it.
And your friends now, you go to the club here in Arlington now, still playing dominoes?
Yes.
Are you a mean domino player?
No, I got a couple of trophies they gave me.
Oh, yeah. You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, the trophies in Michigan, the one the guys gave me.
Oh, for dominoes. But here in Arlington, have you won any trophies?
Oh, no.
Do y'all gamble when you play dominoes?
No.
Not even pennies?
No. No, just a guy, he was in the school system.
I see.
And he was taught school. He was in the school teacher, I think it was, a council member. But anyway, he retired and I used to play, and here was his idea.
I see.
I used to call myself the champ.
You went from being grandma to the champ. That's quite an accomplishment.
And matter of fact, I got a picture of Domino, the guy had made up for me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's
And-
wonderful.
But anyway, he got the trophy, had the trophy, and I was surprised. He brought it to me.
Right.
And he told us he wanted us to kind of get dressed up,
Oh, yeah.
and it surprised me, you know. So we did. And went there the day, and he gave me this domino set. With
Oh, nice.
the trophy with the best domino player and the best scorekeeper. And I was so proud of it.
Were you?
Yes.
So
With my name on it and
you
everything.
got your name on a little. Did they have a little plaque on it?
Yeah, with my name on it. and
Very
everything.
nice.
Matter of fact, I could show it to you. You know.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
And but anyway, I got that. I was proud of it.
Yes.
You know, with my name on it and everything. So now John the Center here, I told him I was the champ.
Okay.
I said, I'm the best domino player in town here.
Right.
I'm new here. I bet you the domino. But anyway, this lady was playing against me, and I couldn't think of her name or anything like that, because just John people. I was there for several weeks and still months and still couldn't remember all the people's names, but what few
Sure.
people this is. And so one day I taken the trophy there. I said, no. Oh man, she win every game.
You're right.
And when I present this trophy to her, she says, that was in Michigan. That's when you was a kid age or something, she said. But anyway, she said, I'm the champ now. Them trophies don't do they're those trophies. But we have fun. But,
Yes.
there's only a few people there at the club.
At the center.
Yeah.
And so, how did you choose this particular center to go to? Is it the only one in Arlington, or are there others in Arlington that are like that?
My daughter's boyfriend, he taking me to this is the closest.
Okay, all right.
And I learned how to drive to this clinic. It's taking me less than 10 minutes to get there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that's the closest.
Okay.
The other one he took me to, I still can't go to him now, but I just can go, this one.
Yes.
That's the one. I said, well, I just,
How often do you go to the club?
every day,
Every day. Wow.
about 4 days a week.
4 days a week,
Monday
okay.
through Thursdays. From
And-
9 o'clock to 1 o'clock.
Okay.
We old people got to be out there at 1 o'clock.
Okay. So they do they serve you food up there and?
Yeah, Meals on Wheels.
Oh, okay. All right. And yeah, your daughter's cooking is better than Meals on Wheels.
Oh,
We-
yeah.
Yeah, we know that. So you don't have to eat Meals on Wheels. You can
No,
really.
depending on my daughter, she's doing the cooking for me.
Right. Well, is there anything that you would like to talk about that I haven't asked you?
No,
Okay. Well, I want to tell you, it's been a pleasure, and all of our conversations are a pleasure. But I appreciate you agreeing to do this with me.
well, I don't know. I wasn't a big talker or anything.
Right.
I was always quiet. You know, I carry on a lot of foolishness sometimes. But I wasn't talking, but anyway, it was just. I'm glad it kind of opened up through the years
Yes. Yeah.
and talk. But anyway, it's a good experience.
Yes.
It's a good experience.
Well, thank you. I'm glad, and I appreciate you doing it. And guess we'll end it right here.